I'd like to call the Planning and Economic Development Committee to order, and the first item is roll call, please.
Mrs. Root,
Here.
Mrs. Hanchett,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Present.
Mr. Curran,
Here.
Mr. Havey,
Here.
Mr. Healy,
Here.
Mr. Ricky,
Here.
Mrs. Ricketts Swales,
Here.
and Mr. Harris. 8 present.
Okay, thank you. The next on the agenda is the approval of the November 20th minutes, and I entertain a motion for those.
Healy will move it. Ricky second.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion is carried. I'm going to acknowledge that in our packet today, we have monthly reports from Ashley Smith, the Director of Economic Development, from Craig Clark, Industrial Development Agency, Keir Durham, the Director of Planning, and Rita Selbeck Lynch, Employment and Training Program Director. Today, we're going to have an update on the website. I've asked Ashley Smith, Director of Economic Development, to come and give us an update, and we're going to have a little show and tell. So welcome to the podium, Ashley.
Thank you. Brenda, can you pull the site up for me? Thank you. On the screen, yeah. It's our government site. Just click on the Economic Development tab. So Brenda's going to help me with the technology side of things, but ultimately, if you recall, I came to the committee and asked for approval to engage for some software that was going to showcase the data for the county that would be accessible for our community, and it's live. So I just kind of wanted to show that to you, if we can get that pulled up. All right. So it is, when you click Economic Development on the website, it is the very first page that you're going to come to. The content on the site has been scrubbed and new verbiage has been put in there, so it is all current and up to date. The 2 black buttons are what you've approved back in the summer. Our site selector sheet, you do not have to click them. Our site selector sheet, and additionally the infographic that I brought to the committee meeting. And so those are available for site selectors and community use. If you'll scroll down, Brenda. So there's 3 tabs that are on the current site, and so you see quality of life, logistics, and then the community profile. We're not going to click through all of these, so I'll just give you the high-level overview. You're welcome to go and explore all of it. The tab that we're on, quality of life, so this one is really looking at cost of living, household size, location, a little bit about climate in the area, diversity, schools, and outdoor opportunities. Each of these graphs, and Brenda, you can pick one of the bars and just hover your mouse. All of the information is accessible. You can click on it. You can actually use the 3 little dots in the corner of each of these graphs to click and download an image. They can be put into reports, so they're shareable. It's all consumable data. Brenda, if you'll go to the logistics tab for me. So this is in economic development, a very exciting tab. So this is showing our proximity to air, our proximity to seaport, rail, and highway. And we are currently on the air tab. And so you see we are the star. And if you'll scroll down just a little bit, at the bottom of the graph, every graph is set up with a filter. And so it's 2 hours, 4 hours, and 8 hours in distance. Each are color coordinated, so you see the further out you get, the color changes. And again, these can be downloaded. You can zoom out. They're all manipulatable. The interesting piece, I did ask for the ad. We do have a little tiny airport in Allegheny County. While there's no, connections, it is there. And so I'm really excited to see that we were able to add that as part of our asset chain. So you can scroll back up and then head to community profile. And so this tab is going to give you our population, GDP. It's going to look at employment and unemployment rates, household income, and then we get into the subcategories, which are looking at a drill down to some of this information, also a little bit about workforce, and then an overall livability file. So just wanted to show that this is a piece of technology that we went after, and I'm excited that we have it. For a site selector, it's the first piece of information they want to see. And so it's the very first page on our website. Any questions on it?
How long's it been up and operational?
1 day.
One day.
I have to give credit to Alex Smith, the deputy administrator, and Chris's team because he helped to get it on the site and get everything adjusted and do the edits. And so I definitely could not have launched it without him. So I appreciate his help in that. A sidebar on it, it does auto update on its own. That's part of the feature with the organization is that as data comes out, it refreshes. So we don't have to do anything.
That was going to be my next question.
Yes. Anything else?
Does anyone else have any questions for Ashley? Yep.
I didn't happen to notice on the airports there, did they show the tool in our adjoining counties? There'd be, similar in size to Walsall, maybe.
Like Steuben?
Well, Hornell has one in Hornell, and then there's one.
I did not specifically ask for those to be added.
There's one in the town of Ishway, just over the county
Yes.
border in Cattaraugus County. Well, I see you had the distance to the major airports.
Yep.
I assume that was Bradford down in Pennsylvania. Okay, thank you.
So if it was pulled in by the company that facilitated the information, then that was wonderful, but I didn't, strategically, I may not have asked for any other municipal airports.
I just noticed they weren't on there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Anyone else have any other questions or comments?
sure.
Yeah, I noticed that you starting.
Put, Mr. Burns, put your mic on, please.
Apologize for that. That you've started to look into the railroad.
Mm-hmm.
And both Steve and I are on the committee, and we both want to see something happen.
I agree.
We're afraid that if we don't do that, that the next time that the state gets in big trouble, that they're going to drop their funding and no more railroad all of a sudden. So I think it's very important that we try to get somebody within this county and to utilize, even if it's only once a month, it'd be nice to have a good railroad train service, obviously freight. So if you're going to be talking to anybody, we would certainly be interested in accompanying you and whatever that we can do to help in that area.
I appreciate that, and I'm going to take you up on it. I have been in some infrequent contacts with Steve, and he's shared some additional points of contact for me to reach out to start having some conversations. I have not facilitated those yet, but they're on the docket for the new year.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a quick question. I'm curious about the broadband network tab, if we could click on that to see, is that showing?
Just shows signal strength. That's it.
I just wondered if
Yeah.
it showed where we had our broadband, where we needed it, or anything like that.
Not
That's
that
been-
granular.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that information out there available that it could be there? Am I looking at Cure for that? Cure, is that something that we have
They will
data
share.
on that can be utilized? I don't know if you want it there, but I would think that would be something that people would want to know.
So the technology that I'm using, it's not customizable in the sense that we can overlay something.
Oh.
But if Cure has tools, we can absolutely add them as a side button to be able to see access points.
Okay.
The data is a little sketchy,
Right.
but the federal government and the state have put out some map data. I don't think it's the most accurate, but it certainly gives you clues as
Okay.
to where there may not be coverage. So, yes,
Okay.
it's out there. We haven't necessarily broadcast that because it's not the greatest inviting thing.
And that would be something new, because for a long time, you couldn't get any of that information. It was not shareable
Right.
when they first started with
I
it.
only got the data about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yes. Good.
All right. Anything else for Ashley on the website?
Thank you.
Pretty cool. Ashley, Do you have?
Is that my timer?
Is there anything else that you'd like to share while you're at the podium?
Not today, thank you.
Okay. So we're going to move on to our action items. The Office of Planning is requesting to amend the contract with the Pictometry International Corporation. Here?
Yeah, so last winter, early spring, we test drove in real property 911 enumeration in our office a orthogonal view data set that was available from our flight last year. It's a separate service that they offer, and we all found it was more accurate material than what the state provides, and so it was somewhat useful. And as 911 was using it, they really liked it the most. So this is an amendment to the contract from 2 years ago, and it's a relatively small amount. And they would bill it when they send us the flight invoice. And by the way, as of a week or so ago, they had flown about 35% of the county. They're wishing the snow would stop long enough to melt so they can finish it, but not happening today.
Okay, Healy moves it. Do we have a second?
Hayfield.
Mr. Barnes seconds it. Any other discussion or questions about this contract? Yes, Mr. Harris?
Barely related to this contract, but related to Eagleview. We had a conversation quite a while ago about, we had a request from a member of the public, so not associated with a municipality, but just a citizen in general that wanted access to Eagleview.
Right.
And so thinking way back in the day when we originally contracted with Eagleview, I was under the impression that that was something that was going to have accessibility to the public. I'm not sure that they do now. Is that something you can inquire with them? I think ideally what you would want is public access without the ability to make changes to the map. I think that was the concern, was that.
It's available as an add-on. We haven't gotten an updated quote. If you'd like me to get a quote, I can, and see what that would take.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is that a directive?
Not for me, but maybe the board or the committee could do that, just
Well, I
see
think
how
you-
much it
I'll
costs.
reach out.
Look into it.
I'll reach out and
Come
see.
back to us.
Just so folks understand that the way our license is set up currently, it is for municipal related entities. So I create logins for towns, villages, assessors, code enforcement, any of those types of groups around the county. Anybody that's doing work for us essentially for the good of the county, that's part of our deal. So we've got about 100 users right now on the system that have requested, and I usually get 1 or 2 every month or so. So it's being used.
Another service we provide for our local municipalities, and it's a very valuable service, I think, for a lot of different reasons.
The assessors are really some of them are using it a
Well, if they
lot.
apply for grants, it's very, writing grants is very useful too, I believe. So I think it's a good thing. Thank you.
We got to take a vote, don't we? All in favor of this extended contract, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Keir, while you're at the podium, Keir had asked to have something for the good of the order, so you're there. Why don't you go ahead with?
Yeah, a little out of order here, but couple of things. This marks approximately the end of the planning office involvement with tourism promotion that we took over about 3 years ago, and I think we did a pretty good job with that, and I've had a lot of staff involvement over the years, and there's no way that would have gotten done if it was just me. And my staff, I think, really stepped up, covering all these random requests without any fanfare. And so I personally appreciate all their effort during that time. It's moving over to the Office of Economic Development. I don't know if I had mentioned that Angela McKay had resigned. She'd been with us a long time, and without her graphic design and managing our ad program, we just wouldn't have done that. So Michelle was taking care of all the quarterly reports and annual reports and all that kind of accounting issues. And Mandy Phelps was taking care of all my radio ads and all that type of. She would go record them for us, which you're not getting me on the radio that way. And then Stacy Beardsley was taking care of all our events, scheduling them, going to them, dealing with all the swag, all those kinds of things. So they've really stepped up over the years, and I appreciate that effort. This week I had a bit of a news flash that Michelle Den Linza is going to not be with my office after mid-January and moving over to the Office of Economic Development to become the deputy director there. And so that is going to leave us with an opening there and all the other openings I've talked about. I'm not bringing anything today to that fill, but in the coming months, after the dust settles here, my intention is to come back to you with the right positions to be filled. So, not doing that. Michelle's done a great job with me since 2016 and will be sorely missed. So, that's about that.
All right. I appreciate that. Here, and your department has done a great job when they took over tourism, and they've all pitched in and kept it going. So I think we all appreciate all the hard work that you and your staff did taking that on. It was, you hit the ground running, I guess, and
And we won a prize.
and never missed a beat. So we do thank you for that and appreciate all your efforts on that. So thank you.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, Happy birthday, whatever it is.
Thanks, Keir. So next up, we have a reappointment to the Planning Board. Brenda Rigby-Reel.
Yes, the first one is the chairman of the board plans to reappoint John Roederer of Houghton as a member of the planning board for a 3-year term effective January 1st, 2025 and expiring December 31st, 2027. And this does need confirmation by the board and requires a resolution.
Hanchett will move.
Do I have a second?
Maybe a second.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
The second set of appointments is also to the planning board. This is the ex officio members, which is only for a 1-year term. And it's Thomas Windus, County Superintendent of Public Works, Terry Ross, County Treasurer, and the Chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Philip Stockin.
Motion?
Healy will move it. Ricky second.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Motion carried. Go to the order. It's the end of the year. We have a few minutes left, and I see we have, not to put you on a spot, but we have Craig Clark and Rita, who send you the end of the year. Do you have anything you'd like to share with us, wrapping up the year? You don't have to, but you're there, and we have extra time. So if you'd like to come up and just talk about maybe end of year wrap up for you, now's your time to do it.
Yeah, I think we've had another good year.
Poke your button.
There we go. We've had another good year. The LA-CAT wind project is starting. It's a biggest project in the county in years. It's a $414 million project. They're already starting to do some clearing and grubbing. They'll start full construction in April. So you'll see wind turbines go up as early as late next year, and so I think that's huge. If you've noticed, the Taco Bell should be opening any day now. They're talking about the next few days to actually open. And thereafter, the micro hotel will do a complete renovation down there. So it's been there a long time. I really appreciate that Indus Group to be doing things in Wellsville, because there's not too many developers that are willing to work in a small community. And they should be hopefully supported because of what they're doing. Then there are obviously other projects. We continue to work with the Wellsville Business Park. Most of the space is getting to the point where it's leased, and we are talking to a major company that may actually take over that facility in the near future as well. Yes.
Speaking of the business park, so what potential do you see over the next 2 or 3 years as far as employment in that facility?
Well, both of the current two smaller companies are talking in the neighborhood of between 20 and 100 new employees. We'll see how that goes. We have another potential tenant that could be much larger than that. So it's in the right place at the right time, and obviously it helps, one, having the workforce and the workforce development in the area, as well as low-cost power. Between those three, I mean, it's been pretty active, and the owners have had a lot of interest in the last few months, actually. It's kind of peaked up, and I think it's going to continue to do that. So I think you will see it, probably not as full, but it could be fuller, but it could be as many employees as when they closed anyways.
What's the employment there now?
Well, it's interesting because both companies do a lot of outreach, and they do a lot of work outside of the actual facility. When you walk through the facility, there's probably only 15 to 20 that are working in the facility, but a lot of those people are on the road, and they still are local employees that work in other places. And that's what they'll continue to do, because they retrofit older turbines and older compressors, so they will still have a lot of staff on the field. So there'll probably never be as many in place, but they'll be employed through those companies, and they'll still be local.
Thank you.
Okay.
Craig, is the office building being used?
No, that's one thing they haven't been able to do that, so it's still in good, I mean, I've been through it, it's still in very good shape, but potentially they keep looking at a couple of these places that may have some engineering and some other support staff, and there would be for the companies. It's not, unfortunately, large office spaces like that aren't really something that people are looking for anymore.
Okay. Anything else? Anybody have a question? If not, thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
Rita?
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Economic Development Team, I'd like to report that we had a very successful Regional Economic Development Team meeting, which many of you were at last week. We also got together yesterday to kind of compile all the results, and then we'll be meeting again at the end of January on the 31st. So you'll all be invited to attend that. So we're meeting regularly, and I think we're making some great progress. In the meantime, I'd like to offer my employees a huge thank you for putting up with the accommodations we've had for the past year and a half, and we're hoping in the new year, and keeping our fingers crossed, that we will have a building where we can all at least be together, and that our counseling can be done in more private and confidential settings. So on a bright note for this, we did receive the $5,000 grant from the Allegheny County Area Foundation, and so we're pleased to be using that next year for some tuition assistance. We're just reviewing some of the guidelines with the staff and then making just some final arrangements, but that's been wonderful. So again, thank you so much for all of your support. Look forward to a great new year.
Okay. Thank you, Rita.
Welcome.
Is there anything else for the good of the order today? I don't know if we had said this, but the new EDO, Advancing Allegheny County, we have received our articles of incorporation, so that it is a done deal at this point. Yay. It's been a long time in the making, so the next steps are to fill out the board of directors and continue working on the policies and procedures, and we will keep you posted as we go along with that. So if there's not anything else for today, I'll ask for an adjournment.
Ricky, move.
Hayfield, second.